Hey guys, a lot of my friends have been asking me if I can recommend a budget projector. I think the weather is getting better. I'm in New York, by the way, and it's spring season. And, a lot of people were asking me, a lot of my friends asked me if I can recommend one of these cheaper budget projectors that they can use for outdoor movie nights. Um, and if you have something like YouTube TV, one of those streaming services like YouTube TV or Sling TV, you can hook up a Fire Stick and you can watch your baseball game. And come fall, you can watch football. So I started looking at budget projectors, started doing some research, and one of the guys that I follow on YouTube, probably shouldn't say his name, but I'm a huge fan. Um, and he had done a top 10, I think, budget review. I'm sorry, top 10 projector reviews for 2020. And in the budget category, he had this projector. It's called Apeman. The model number is LC650. So I decided that I was gonna buy it, do a review, see if it is something that I could be interested in or if it's something that I could recommend to my friends. So this is the projector. It has a nice brushed metal look on top. The sides are plastic. There are vents and speakers on the side. Back has one HDMI and two USB ports. That's the IR, that's the power cable, and it has an AV and aux port. And the aux port is actually, I like that because if you do decide to hook up a sound bar, that helps with these projectors because the sound is not that good with these. So I'll check it out. And when I power it on, I'll see what the sound is like. But it's good to have an aux port. That's the power button on top, lens, and that's how you focus the lens, just by moving it clockwise, anti-clockwise. And it does have a little stand, and on the bottom it has 4 screws if you want to hang it on a ceiling, and that's it. So that's the remote. Pretty basic: volume up, volume down, directional buttons, play, pause, source, return. The only thing I don't know yet is if you can see these two on top. I have a feeling that's for keystone correction, which would be good because none of these remotes come with the keystone on the remote. Usually you have to go into settings. So I guess I'll find out when I power the projector on. Of course, it doesn't come with batteries. They have this little card in there with email addresses in case you want to reach them. Other than that, they have the user manual, power cable, HDMI cable, and of course, can't do anything without this. It's fascinating that a lot of these projector companies, they still include these component cables. I think that's what they're called, but I don't think anybody uses them anymore. I mean, if somebody does, like, I don't know anybody who still uses these things, but they include these, but they don't include batteries. It's fascinating. But anyway, they also have these little things, if you can see. Yeah, totally messing that up. Okay, here we go. So I think what these are, on the bottom they have these screws, and I think if you're resting it on a table, you would want to put those little things inside and it would give it a more stable grip. I think that's what that is. Yeah, that's it. So on to the review. So we're in my home theater now. I guess one of these days I will do a review of my home theater setup as well, but for now I just wanted to kind of show you how the projector is set up. The Apeman projector is set up right now. before I actually turn it on. So it's sitting on the armchair and it's about 11 feet away from the screen. The screen is a 133-inch Dragonfly screen. It's a 0.9 gain. So it's ideal for standard throw projectors. So, all right, we'll turn the projector on now. All right, so I have connected a Fire Stick 4K. There's only one HDMI input on this one, and there is a USB 2.0. So right now what I have is my Fire Stick 4K, and it's powered by the USB 2.0. It's playing a YouTube video. It's a 4K video. Now obviously the projector itself, it's not a native 4K projector, but it does support 4K, I think up to 4K. So as far as the picture, I think it looks brighter in the video that you guys are watching that it does in person. It's not a very bright projector. It doesn't give ANSI lumen information. The company doesn't provide that. They give the usual lux, whatever, the usual 6,000, 7,000, something like that. It's pointless just by looking at it naked eye. And comparing it to some of the other projectors that I've used, I would say at best it's giving maybe 200 ANSI lumens, probably even less, 150. The room is pitch black and it's really not that bright. So let's just go over the settings. So you start with the picture settings and you have your picture mode is user, which is what I'm using. I adjust the contrast, brightness, color, and sharpness. For some odd reason, the tint you can adjust. Not sure why. Other modes are vivid, standard. None of those modes are usable. The picture is just too saturated, and in soft mode it's just extremely dull, extremely dim. Then they have the color temperature. You have the option to keep it at warm. User, you can just adjust the red, the green, and the blue the way you want it. Cool, medium, I usually keep it at warm. Picture looks most natural on that. Then of course you have the aspect ratio. I will always keep it at auto. You can do 16:9, 4:3. You can reduce the display, so instead of moving the projector back and forth to adjust the size, you can technically just reduce the display. So if I wanted to go lower, I would keep going. So just, I forgot to mention that, but in the intro I did mention that the projector is about 11 feet from the screen, and I'm getting about 110 inches. So going on, it's the auto source. What that means is that, for example, right now I have the Fire Stick plugged into the HDMI 1. Well, the HDMI, the only HDMI that it has. If you keep the auto source on, which I have, so every time you turn on the projector, it will go to that HDMI, so it will turn on your Fire Stick automatically. It does give the LED temperature. Some of the other projectors that I've used, they don't give this information. It's useful to have, so I guess periodically you can check if the temperature is too high. You might want to turn down your projector for a while. It's just like a computer. So let's see, you have your sound mode. Didn't see a whole lot of difference between movie, sports, or user. But if you turn off or on surround sound, you do feel a difference. Then you can set up your time, you can sleep timer. And lastly, we have the language, the keystone. Now in the intro, I had mentioned that there were 2 buttons on top of the remote. So you can actually use the keystone in here in the settings, or you can use those buttons. I'll show you in a second. You can rotate it if you're just using it as a front projection. You'll put it at front. If you are hanging it on a ceiling, you will change it to rear. And then you could do a software update, but just keep in mind there is no Wi-Fi. You would have to plug in a USB. I'm assuming you could go to the company's website and download the firmware and then, plug in the USB and do it via that. But I haven't tried that. And factory default, you can restore it to factory version. You can check the version. Right, so the keystone, so there are two buttons on top. So you can actually, if you see, I can just click on that and adjust the keystone to make the picture, fit better. So those were the settings. As I had mentioned in the beginning, the projector is not extremely bright. If your room is pitch black the way I have it right now, then it's fine. It's a decent picture. Keep in mind, I got it for $170. So at that price point, yes, it's watchable, it's decent, but I wouldn't recommend it for like backyard viewing, because you do have ambient light. Could be street lights, could be cars going back and forth, could be your neighbors, could be your own lights. So yeah, for backyard viewing, absolutely don't recommend it. It is very, very, it's not very bright. It's I'm in a pitch black room right now, and I can see that it's not very bright. It's watchable. It's decent at the price point, but it's not something that I would recommend to my friends for backyard viewing. It's also not something that I can recommend for a dedicated movie like a theater room. For one, because it's not very bright, and two, it only has one HDMI input. So if you have connected your Fire Stick or your cable box, then that's it. You can't. Every time you want to switch to a game console, you would have to switch back and forth. Besides, I wouldn't do gaming on this anyway. I don't think it has the processing power to do any kind of serious gaming. So that's pretty much my review. It's a decent projector at this price point. I just can't recommend it for backyard viewing. I am going to, in the coming weeks and months, I am going to review a few more of these budget projectors. I've gotten interested in these because, as my friends pointed out, not everybody has, $1,000 or $1,500 to get the latest 4K ultra short through. So if you really just are looking for like a big movie experience in a casual way in a backyard or something like that, then yeah, these budget projectors are the way to go. But I think that you can do better than this. Maybe not at this price point, but throw in another $50, $70, somewhere around $250. I think you can find better projectors. This is okay. I wouldn't recommend it. If I had to give it, a star rating, I would say maybe on a scale of 10, maybe 5.5 at best. So yeah, that's my review, and please stay tuned because I am going to review a few more of these budget projectors in the coming weeks and months. My goal is to find the best budget projector under $300, maybe even under $250. So yeah, thanks for watching.